Tonight. Come on, Vinny. Yeah! Run away, Murray! Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable! A home run for...
Welcome to the Sanders Sports Show. And now here is your host, Dave Sanders.
Good afternoon. This is the Sanders Sports Show. I'm your host, Dave Sanders. However you're listening to it, here they're on Spreaker.com, on Facebook, or on iTunes. Thank you for making the show a part of your day. It's going to be a bit of a different show today, obviously, with what happened yesterday. I'm going to throw some sports in. We'll talk about the Lakers and the Jazz, what it all comes down to tomorrow night for them. Talk a little NHL, NASCAR, baseball. Also having an announcement about a special show coming up later this week. I'll let you know what that's going to be here at the end of the show. But unless you were living under a rock or you were out in the boonies, out in the mountains, in the desert, and had no access to any media whatsoever, no cell phone, no tablets, nothing. Everybody has heard what happened yesterday up in Boston during the Boston Marathon, and I'm going to take some time to share my thoughts on this. I mean, it's not going to be sports-oriented. I mean, there is some aspect of sports that was affected by this, but at the end of the day, as we have almost come to accept in our society today, sports take a back seat. We realize what is truly important in life, which is just basic life, basic humanity. And when stuff like yesterday happens, because it's becoming more and more of a common theme, when stuff like that happens, though, society and humanity both come one step closer to just being gone. We never feared like this before. Before September 11th, 2001, no one thought stuff like this could happen. No one thought they would come on our soil and bomb us or attack us. I'm not just talking about overseas. I'm not talking about people that don't like us from over whatever country they're from. I'm talking also internally. And when Timothy McVeigh blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City in '95, that shocked everybody. That was just the most shocking thing ever. Yesterday, yeah, it was shocking, but it's almost expected now. And that's not right. There's nothing right about that at all. Over the last 2 years, well, a year and a half about, we've learned in this country, you cannot go see Batman in a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado. We have learned you cannot send your kids to school in Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut. And we have learned that you cannot watch a running race, a 26.2-mile marathon, without fear of getting blown up in this country anymore. That's sad. That's sickening, actually, as an American. Not even as an American, as a human being, that's sickening. There's nothing okay with this. Of course, people are quick to blame Al-Qaeda, whatever terrorist organization's the flavor of the month this month. Unless you have real concrete evidence, first off, I want to say this because I have some friends that are of Muslim faith. Unless you have hard evidence, and unless you actually saw somebody plant those duffel bags with the crock pots in them, unless you saw that with your own eyes, shut up. That's why people hate us. It's because we're so quick to judge everybody if they're different than us. Secondly, yesterday was a reminder. This world has lost its safety. I mean, we knew that a long time ago. But it's been more and more prominent over the last few years. Really, the last 12 years. 12 years ago, we learned we couldn't go into our office building without fear of getting attacked. And what's sad about that is we had warnings. They tried to take it down 8 years before that. Not to the level that they used, but they attempted. Yesterday was just a dark day, not only in America, but in humanity and the world. And it makes you wonder what kind of person would purposely put nails, ball bearings, shards of metal, pretty much anything that can maim and destroy inside of a crock pot and put it inside a duffel bag to explode. Not only once, but twice. I will tell you, I couldn't believe this. I was actually playing Xbox. I was doing my morning ritual, playing Xbox. Decided to check Twitter, see what was going on in the world. First tweet I see, reports of an explosion at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. Possible transformer blown up. Accidents happen. Next tweet I see, another explosion 10 seconds later. That right there, I don't know about anybody else out there, and I know there's a few that did say this to me, the general feeling. I'm not talking about the level of destruction, the level of death, the level of 9/11, but it felt like 9/11 yesterday in a lot of ways. Remember the first plane hit? Everyone thought it was an accident. Everyone thought something went wrong with the plane. Something happened to the pilot. Accidents happen. Then the second plane hit. There's no way this is an accident. First bomb goes off, everyone thinks it's a transformer. Second bomb goes off, no accident. What kind of world is this? You can't go to a movie theater, you can't go to school, you can't go to go watch a race, you can't even go to a sporting event. Something that's supposed to be taking us away from reality to let us free our mind of any worry, a sporting event. Like the marathon, like a baseball game, like a football game, like a NASCAR race. Why can't... In what world is it right that we have to fear that now? A lot of people say it shouldn't be focused on the tragedy that happened, but also the heroes. Which there were tons of heroes. The first responders that showed up, the police, fire, everybody that showed up. Heroes. The runners that finished the race, kept going to give blood. Heroes. But why did they have to be? I understand that it's America. People look out for each other when the chips are down, when the cards are dealt. People look out for each other, and that's awesome that we do. Why do we have to, though? Because some nut job out there, whoever he may be, because they haven't found him yet, wants to go explode 2 bombs, amputate dozen people, kill 3, including an 8-year-old. I have an 8-year-old. He went up and gave his dad a hug. Just after finishing the race. Seconds later, he was gone. And what world is that right? His sister lost her leg. His mom, in critical condition. There's nothing right about what happened yesterday. You can put as much of a positive spin on it as you can. Yeah, we came together as a country. We did that during 9/11 too. Doesn't change the fact that 3,000 people died, including firefighters that were there to save lives. Doesn't change the fact that yesterday 3 people died. Doesn't change the fact that 26 kids died in Newtown. Doesn't change the fact all the people died in Aurora. Doesn't change the fact that 162 people died in Oklahoma City in 1995. We can come together as a nation all we want. This hurting people needs to end. I said I'm going to go on many tangents today. I do apologize. If you're expecting a sports show, I will get to that. I hope here soon. Because I do have some stuff to talk about the NBA. I mean, we have one game tomorrow that will decide everything in the West. at least the last couple spots. But between this time yesterday, I actually am glad in a lot of ways I wasn't on the air yesterday. I was doing daily shows for a while. That happened right about the time I was going to be live. I mean, I'm training for radio. I am. I don't know how to handle that yet. I wouldn't be knowing how to handle it. I would do everything I could to keep calm. I know that. It was a sad day yesterday. It shouldn't have happened. There's no reason for that. What do people think about when they do this? That's the part I don't get. With this, within probably a half hour of it becoming a quote-unquote terrorist attack, New York City had their counter-terror people out guarding everything. Seattle, I saw our Seattle Mayor, Michael McGinn, tweeted that he was increasing police presence out in the public, especially around crowded areas like Pikes Market, Seattle Center, etc. Ballparks, arenas, tracks, all stepping up security this week. Security that people constantly complain about. Constantly. That's all I hear is, why do we have to wait so long? Why don't they just let people in? I mean, no one's going to do anything. Tell that to people in Boston yesterday. Nobody's going to do anything. Tell that to the kids in Aurora. Nobody's going to do anything. Yeah, a lot of people say it's infringing on our rights. I'd rather be alive at this point. With the way things are going, I would rather be alive and be safe in a world that's not safe. Try and make it as safe as possible. That's all these people are trying to do. So next time you complain about having to wait 5 extra minutes to get that hot dog and get to your seat, think about the people that died yesterday. Think the people that lost their legs yesterday. That lost, I don't know how much blood. There's still people that could die out of this. Think about that. And this is supposedly one of the safest events out there. No one would have targeted a marathon. If anything, you would think they would have targeted Fenway, who just had a game an hour before the bomb went off. Speaking of games, 2 games are affected by this. A hockey game, Bruins and the Senators, postponed, will be made up at a later date. Pacers and the Celtics was supposed to go on tonight. It's canceled outright. First time I think that's ever happened. Yeah, ever. A basketball game being canceled outright. Think about that. We didn't even do that during 9/11. We didn't cancel baseball games. We just pushed back for a week. We didn't cancel a NASCAR race. We pushed it back a week. If there's anything this maniac did, was probably his objective. Cause fear, cause pain, cause death. He did that. People are afraid after that. The Boston Scanner actually turned it on my TuneIn app. It was going nuts with people saying they found a suspicious device. All we can do is hope this doesn't happen again, but the likelihood of that happening, the Cubs are likely to win the World Series before another terrorist attack doesn't happen. I will shift gears here after the break. I'm going to take a little bit of break. Coming up after the break, Lakers and the Jazz, what they have to do tomorrow to secure their playoff spots. This is the Standard Sports Show here on Spreaker.com.
The Mac. Get up what it is, what it does, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up.
Welcome back into the Standard Sports Show here on Spreaker.com. You can also go to Facebook, like my page for the Standard Sports Show, Facebook.com Facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Also on Twitter, follow us at Sand Sports Show. Also on iTunes, go subscribe to the channel. Get the podcast automatically downloaded to your iPod in case you can't listen to it live, or if you want to go back and hear my ramblings. We will talk a little bit basketball. Like I said, Indiana and Boston has been canceled tonight, so we won't bring that up again. But the attention isn't necessarily on tonight's games. Tonight there's only 2 games on the schedule, Toronto and Atlanta, and Portland and Clippers. Tomorrow night, the final night of the season already. Seems like it just started. It really does. But tomorrow night has huge implications on the Western Conference. The 7 and 8 seeds are up for grabs. Excuse me. 7 and 8 seeds are up for grabs between the Lakers and the Jazz. Lakers hold a 1-game lead over the Jazz going into tomorrow night. Jazz do hold the tiebreaker, though. So here's a scenario. Lakers win, they're in. Not only are they in, Lakers are actually going to be the 7 seed by beating Houston. But first, before that happens, Utah has to get past Memphis to even give the Lakers a little bit of doubt. And I said, I believe 2 weeks ago, that I saw the Lakers not making the playoffs. I actually still see that. I see Houston being the spoiler, because Houston has been burned so many times by the Lakers in the playoffs. I cannot see them taking it easy on the Lakers and basically letting them walk in. Granted, whoever the Lakers play, whether it be the Thunder, who's the 1 seed, or the Spurs, who's the 2 seed, they're going to get destroyed. I mean, the Lakers without Kobe is not going to work. In the playoffs, anyways. Dwight is showing glimpses of his brilliant self when he does want to be good. If he can continue that, they might have a chance in the first round. Might. And that's very, very big might. But those are your scenarios. The Lakers have to win. If they win, they're in. If the Jazz win, and the Lakers lose, see ya, LA. Nice knowing you. Is this it for Kobe, though? Will he go out like this? I don't think so. 6 to 9 months, which will put him back at the earliest around September, October, maybe November. At the very latest, probably the All-Star break next year. I think we'll see him back for at least a half a year, at the very least, making one more playoff push. He said he'd retire when he's 35. He's almost there. Next year would be his final season if he was to continue that plan. Just like Mariano Rivera last year with the Yankees, I can't see him going out on an injury. You may love Kobe, you may hate Kobe, but you have to respect him for his work ethic, because he has a hell of a work ethic. He does. I hate the way he plays. That's the only thing I really hate about him, the way he plays. He's improved a lot. Deep down, he's still a ball hog to me. He still thinks he's the one-man show, when he has tons of talent around him. Tons of other tools that he can utilize, which he doesn't sometimes. That's really my only beef with Kobe. I hate him because of that. Because if I was a coach and I had Kobe Bryant on my team, I'd sit him down if he was acting like that. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big of a star you are. You don't want to play the way I want to play? You're sitting down. That's my beef with him, is that the way he plays. That's really the only playoff scenario. I mean, everyone else has clinched. The East has been wrapped up for a couple weeks now. The only one that still needs to be determined is that 8 seed, which if the Lakers beat Houston, they're not only in the playoffs, like I said, they are the 7 seed, and they will take on San Antonio. So I'm going to go through a few scenarios here. Start with the Eastern Conference, since they're already locked into everything. First round matches, Miami versus Milwaukee. Milwaukee getting in on a losing record. Right now they're 37-44. Best they can do is 38-44. Yeah, I don't see Milwaukee even taking a game in this one. I'm going for a Miami sweep, Miami 4-0. New York and Boston. Talk about rivalry, number one. Number two, I hate to use this because I know that it's going to be the story going in, but you almost can't ignore it at the same time. You know Boston's going to be playing for their city. They're going to be playing their hearts out. I won't give them the upset. I will not. I'll give them 2 games. New York wins 4-2. Sorry, 3-2. It's best of 5, that's right. And first round, 3-0 for Miami. Next game, Indiana-Chicago gets a little tougher here. Just because Chicago, not sure about them still. Indiana surprised me this year. They did. But without Derrick Rose, which I think is the smart move for Rose, not the smart move for the Bulls necessarily. That's going to be a coin flip. That's going to be a bigger coin flip than the 4 or 5 seed, I think. Yeah, I'm going to have to pull with the. I'm going to have to pull with the Pacers beating the Bulls, probably 3-1. And finally, move into the 4-5 matchup over in the East. Excuse me. Got a little tickle in my throat. I do apologize about that. 4-5 is the Brooklyn-Atlanta series. Brooklyn is so hit and miss to me that they're very vulnerable. I would have Atlanta winning this 3-1. So Miami 3-0, New York 3-2, Indiana 3-1, and Atlanta over Brooklyn 3-1. Those are my Eastern Conference first round predictions. See how well I do. Over in the West, on the other hand, let's just go with scenario number 1. Lakers win, they're in. They're number 7. So that would in turn mean Thunder versus Rockets. Thunder, easily. Probably 3-1. San Antonio against the Lakers. 3-0 San Antonio, big time. Denver over Golden State. Golden State's one of those... Golden State's one of those teams that you just don't know what they're going to bring every night. Steph Curry has just been amazing. I think he broke the NBA record for three-pointers in a season last night. If he didn't, he's very close. He'll do it tomorrow. I would actually have Golden State do it with the upset over Denver. Denver had a great run. Don't get me wrong. They had a great run. I have Golden State actually winning this one 3-2. Clippers and Memphis. To me, it's the Clippers' year almost. I'll get in deeper with them as they get deeper in the playoffs, but they'll beat Memphis, I think, 3-1. That's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, Jazz make the playoffs. Houston's a 7 seed. Pretty much the same. Except I'll have Oklahoma City 3-1 over the Jazz. San Antonio over Houston 3-1. Everything else the same. I have no love for the Lakers. Don't get me wrong. Don't. Don't at all. There was some basketball played last night, though, which brought us to this point, actually. Like I said, tonight we have Toronto, Atlanta, and Portland taking on the Clippers tonight. But last night there was 11 games on the docket. Bobcats beating the Knicks 119-112. The Suns over the Rockets 119-112. Bulls beat the Magic 102-84. The Heat escaping the Clippers 96-95. Nets over the Wizards 106-101. Pistons over the 76ers 109-101. Nuggets squeaked by the Bucks 112-111. Grizzlies over the Mavericks 103-97. Jazz needed that all-important win over the Timberwolves 96-80. Kept them within a game of the Lakers. Thunder, the old Sonics beat the new Sonics 104-95, which I'll have more on that in a minute.
A vast virus
And
database has been updated.
the Warriors over the Spurs, 116-107. I do apologize about that. Now, as far as let's go back to the Kings here for a second. I did say that there's going to be a special show, Sanders Sports Show, this Friday. We'll be going over exactly what the NBA decided. The whole show is dedicated to basically the decision. Will the Kings remain in Sacramento, or will the Sonics be returning home to the Emerald City? That will be same time, 1 p.m. Pacific on Friday. Hopefully we'll have some sort of an answer by then. They are supposed to talk about it at the meetings this Thursday and Friday, so once there's news, of course, I will post it on the Sanders Sports Show Facebook page, so keep an eye out for that as well. If you're not, if you haven't liked that page yet, go ahead and go like it, and keep up to date on the Kings Sonics saga. All right, really quickly before we take another break, talk a little NHL. NHL is actually getting pretty close to the playoffs themselves. It's a shorter season, of course, so it doesn't seem like too long ago that the season started. Still got in quite a few games, though. Got a few teams that have already clinched playoff berths, in the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Montreal Canadiens. Toronto is slated to clinch here within the next week, as is Boston over in the Eastern Conference. Last season, by the way, of this conference layout. Next year we go to 4 divisions and 2 conferences. A little bit more geographically friendly. Over on the West, 2 teams have clinched. Of course, the Chicago Blackhawks, who have just started on that tear. I think it was 25 games, 26-game point streak. They, of course, clinched. And happy to say, my Ducks already clinched the playoff berth also. Only team that has been truly eliminated mathematically is quite possibly the worst team in hockey. I mean, in the last 5-6 years, probably. I mean, Colorado's just god-awful. This was once a proud team. This was once one of the best teams in the league. I mean, almost dynasty when Patrick Wall was in net. Now, they're 14-22-7, 35 points. Mathematically eliminated. The only team to do so, actually. But yeah, only 4 teams have clinched so far. Expect more to be coming up here by the end of the week. If the playoffs were to start right now, here's how your seedings would be. Pittsburgh against the Rangers in the East, 1-8. Montreal against the Islanders. Washington against Ottawa. And Boston and Toronto. In the West, it would be Chicago, Detroit. Anaheim, St. Louis. I'm dreading that one. St. Louis seems to have our number as of late. Vancouver against Minnesota, and the Stanley Cup champion LA Kings taking on San Jose. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little baseball, a little NASCAR, and then wrap up for the day. Here's the Sanders Sports Show here on Spreaker.com. Welcome back into the Sanders Sports Show. Once again, here on Spreaker.com. Also on Facebook at facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Go like the page. Join me on Twitter at Sand Sports Show. Also on iTunes, you can find me. Steven Tyler didn't want to be done, apparently. You can find me on iTunes. Just search Sanders Sports Show. Subscribe and get the latest shows downloaded straight to your iPod, iPad, or Apple device. We're about 2 weeks into baseball season, and people are already panicking, which I find hilarious. I'm an Angels fan. I made no secret of that. It's way too early to panic. And the year the Angels won the World Series, they were, 6-18 or something like that? anything can happen early on. But who had Boston actually being on top of the East right now? They're a game and a half now ahead of the Yanks. Red Sox 8-4. I can't believe that. I thought they would have been sellable. I thought they would have been where the Marlins are actually at 2-11 at this point. But still a long season to go. A lot of things can still happen. Something that the Brewers didn't want to happen. One of their starting pitchers getting arrested last night for DUI. Gallardo blew a .220, I think it was, 3 times legal limit. Yeah, he was. It was a .22. Not a good time for your. I can't even pronounce his first name, Gallardo. There's supposed to be a game going on right now. Actually, it was a game that was postponed due to snow. They cleared the field. I was watching them clear the field. Actually, the Rockies owner even got out, grabbed a shovel, and cleared the field. And it started snowing again. So they're back under a delay. They were supposed to have a doubleheader today. They might just have to reschedule this whole series. You would think, halfway through April, you wouldn't have snow. Even in Colorado. Even in Denver right now. But alas, we do. So hopefully they'll get at least one of the games in. Doesn't sound like too promising in the forecast. Looks like there's still supposed to be some steady snow coming in. So good luck to them out there. They might just have to reschedule that whole series, though. Or make 3 straight days of doubleheaders, which would be just murder on a team. Talk about a couple of scores. Yesterday, like I said, the Red Sox game did finish before the attack occurred. The Red Sox actually did win that game 3-2 over the Devil Rays. I don't even count the Devil Rays anymore. I think they're just the Rays now. Angels looked good early. Gave up 8 runs after that. Followed the Twins 8-2. Reds beat the Phillies 4-2. Cards over the Pirates 10-6. Jays hold on against the White Sox 4-3. I thought they would have been doing a lot better by now. Still early. Just gotta keep telling myself, still early. Nat Knowles beat the Marlins 10-3. I think a double-A team could beat the Marlins at this point. The A's over the Astros 11-2. Once again, Mets and the Rockies postponed. And I know what it is. The Rockies are 3-0 at home. I think the baseball gods want them to remain undefeated at home. And the Padres in prime time on Jackie Robinson Day didn't care. They beat the Dodgers 6-3. Tonight, a lot of those series continuing. 16 games on the docket, including a couple of interleague games. The Yankees and the Diamondbacks. Ian Nova on the mound for the Yankees against Brandon McCarthy of the Diamondbacks. You got the Royals taking on the Braves. You got Chris Medlin on the mound for the Braves. Jeremy Guthrie on the mound for the Royals. Jeremy Guthrie, apparently the Royals are like 11-2 in Guthrie's last 13 starts for the Royals. They're going up against the surging Braves who have won 9 in a row. Something's going to give. Should be actually a really good game. You wouldn't think that considering the teams. Not necessarily the Braves, but the Royals so much. Then you got the Rangers and the Cubs over in the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, which is getting an upgrade. Thank God. Travis Wood on the mound for the Cubs. Derek Holland on the mound for the Rangers. Over the American League, we got the Angels and the Twins. Jason Vargas on the mound for the Angels. Yay. Taking on Mike Pelfrey on the mound for the Twins. Jake Westbrook on the mound for the Cardinals tonight as they take on the Pirates with Anibal Sanchez. Sorry, not Anibal. Gabby Sanchez. Anibal's a Tiger, for those of you keeping track at home. Rays send out Roberto Hernandez on the mound to take on the Orioles with Jake Arrieta. Phillies sending out Kyle Kendrick against Homer Bailey of the Reds. Red Sox have Felix Dubront taking on Ubaldo Jimenez. What the heck happened to that guy? My God, great half of a season in Colorado. Great half of a season. I think he threw a no-hitter even. Ever since then, completely downhill. Talk about nosedive. Ubaldo Jimenez is just spiraled. I wouldn't even try to bet on him being the comeback player of the year. Nationals taking on the Marlins. Nationals sending out Dan Haren. The Marlins sending out Alex Sanabia. They could put Giancarlo on the pitching mound at this point. I think they might actually do better at that if that happened. White Sox taking on the Jays. White Sox with Dylan Axelrod taking on Toronto with Josh Johnson. Giants taking on the Brewers. Giants sending out Barry Zito. The Brewers sending out Willie Peralta. Astros sending out Brad Peacock against the A's, taking on AJ Griffin. Should be a decent matchup there, I think. If they ever get started, the second game of the doubleheader between the Mets and the Rockies, we'll see Aaron Laffey pitching for the Mets and Jeff Francis for the Rockies. Tigers sending out Doug Fister to take on the Mariners, who just send out newcomer Aaron Harang. Just traded for him, I believe, last week, actually. So get to see his first start as a Mariner, trying to bolster up that starting rotation a little bit. Padres send out Jason Marquis, take on Chris Capuano of the Dodgers. And like I said, the Mets and Rockies, the first game delayed. Probably the second game will also be delayed, so I don't see that happening today at all. Hit you up with a little NASCAR news here. I haven't talked about that for a while. Kyle Busch swept the races at Texas this weekend, winning the Nationwide and the Sprint Cup races. Sprint Cup race under a little bit of controversy when it comes to Roger Penske Racing. Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, each getting parts confiscated right before the race started when going through pre-race inspection. In fact, the 22-car Joey Logano barely even made it out to the starting grid to start the race. He actually ended up having to go to the back of the field because he was so late. But he rallied back for a fourth-place finish. Brad Keselowski finished in the top 10 as well. Afterwards, went on a little bit of a tirade toward NASCAR, saying that his and Joey's team were targeted and have been targeted for the past week. Surprisingly, with how NASCAR is fickle about penalties, especially when someone berates them, like Denny Hamlin did earlier this year, talking about the Gen 6 car, no penalties for that one. I'm not sure if I agree with that. If you're going to penalize Denny Hamlin for what he said about the Gen 6 car, you almost have to penalize Brad Keselowski for his comments about NASCAR on this point. There was a little bit of a heated exchange, actually, I think it was last weekend at Martinsville, between Brian Vickers and Kevin Harvick. Well, actually, nothing came of it at Texas, which is a good thing. I've already seen enough retaliation this year, in my opinion. But there was a little bit of retaliation in a kind of delayed 2-year way. Actually, didn't get to see the Rockingham race on Sunday. Actually, quite honestly, forgot about it. But the trucks returned to the Rock. First NASCAR sanctioned race at Rockingham in about 8 years now. I think 03 or 04 was the last time they were there. So about 10 years now. Wow. Which saw rookie Kyle Larson get his first win. Congratulations to him. For those of you who don't know who Kyle Larson is, go look up the Daytona Nationwide race. He's the guy flying into the fence. He's also been pegged as the next big thing in NASCAR, which I'm on board with that because he is awesome. He has talent. Just even keep his nose clean. Unlike another certain Kyle that I cannot stand. I'm hoping you guys are still with me. If not, I'm having technical difficulties. Okay, I am. Sorry about that. My computer just went dark on me, and... Oh, there you are. Okay. Now you're back. But, like like I said, the race saw Kyle Larson getting his first big league win, I guess you could call it, in the Truck Series. Wasn't the only story of the race. Apparently, 4-time Truck Series champion Ron Hornaday, who very popular driver, very liked driver in the Truck Series. Well, apparently he didn't like Darrell Wallace in the 54 car who was driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Because under caution, Hornaday turned Darrell Wallace into the wall, ending his day. I don't know what happened. I've seen the video. I haven't really seen why. I mean, it looked like Wallace kind of crowded Hornaday a little bit. I don't see that as a reason for putting him into the wall, though. I really don't. It brought to memory an incident that happened in 2011 between Ron Hornaday and Kyle Busch. Same thing happened, just Hornaday was the victim in that. Hornaday's not known for this. He's not known to just purposely wreck somebody. He does not have that reputation at all. He's actually one of the cleanest racers out there. So it could be interesting to see if anything happens as far as suspensions, fines, points docked, whatever. Because this is only the third trucks race of the season, so a points hit wouldn't be catastrophic, but it'd be hard to come back from even now. But yeah, I just don't understand where that came from. I mean, Hornaday is usually very mild-mannered, very, very calm. Doesn't ruffle any feathers, really. See that happen, though, very, very out of character. NASCAR is in Richmond this week. I believe all 3 series are. I expect more security this weekend. Not only at NASCAR races, but all over. Just, I'm going to end on this note. I'll get to the plugs here in a minute. Just keep your eyes open. Be safe out there. This isn't 20, 30, 40 years ago anymore. Stuff's happening all around us. It's getting worse. They always say it gets worse before it gets better, though. I want to thank everybody for taking their time out to listen to the show today. Please come check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Like the page, share it with your friends. Let's keep this dream going. I'm at Twitter at Sand Sports Show. Also on iTunes, subscribe to the channel. Get the podcast directly downloaded to your iPod, iPad, or Apple device. And like I said, join me Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, for a very special show. Whether you're going to be celebrating, or I'll have a shot of Jaeger, or we'll be very bitter and ticked off, and I'll have a shot of Jaeger. Either way, Jaeger. It is Tuesday. It actually changed their times on me. I didn't know that until now. Go join my friends Joe 5 O'Clock Somewhere and Anthony Perry over at Fanalize This. They're actually coming up here in about 15 minutes right here on Spreaker.com. Go check out the LA side of things. They'll probably have a lot to talk about as far as the Lakers go, a lot more than I do. Probably more positive things as well. Sorry about that, Joe. Also, if you're a bowling fan, of course, go check out bowlingevolved.com. They have everything you need. Bowling Central, tips and tricks from the pros. Keep up to date with all the goings-on around the Colorado River area, as well as the PBA Tour. From the casual beginner to the hardcore bowler, bowlingevolved.com has everything you need. That is bowlingevolved.com. And also check them out. They're going to be starting to broadcast here on Spreaker as well. Once again, that'll wrap it up for me today. As always, I mean, I say it every show. I got it from Brian Phelps of Mark and Brian. A lot of you might know who they are. A lot of you might not. They were my favorite radio show growing up. I mean, I cried. I cried. I did. I admit it. I cried on their last show. I mean, it was like losing a member of the family. It really was when that show went off the air. And Brian signed off every day with the phrase "Be good humans," and that stuck with me. I mean, I know a lot of things. It might sound weird that a radio show's sign off stuck with someone, but it's different. It's one thing to say it, It's another to do it. Events like yesterday, events like Newtown, events like Aurora, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma City, 9/11, etc. It's old. Again, it's to be expected almost to the point, and it shouldn't be that way. So I will keep saying, I will keep that tradition alive. He does it on his podcast still. Brian and Jill Show, cheap plug for you guys. And I'll keep doing it on my shows. It doesn't matter where I'm at. If I'm doing this, if I'm working at a radio station, if I'm working anywhere. If there's any time I'm on the air, if I'm even doing a wrestling podcast, if I'm doing a sports podcast, if I'm doing a political one, if I'm doing an actual radio show where I'm playing music, I will always say it because it needs to be done. It needs to be said. More than it needs to be said, it needs to be done daily by every single beating heart on this planet. So go out, enjoy the day, be safe out there, and as always, be good humans. Bye-bye.